Good morning, children. That as of the reduced syllabus, we don't have cockroaches in our syllabus. So I shall start from the frog. You have a earthworm. You have earthworm and frog in our syllabus as of the reduced syllabus, and so you need not learn cockroaches. Okay. So the common Indian green frog. It is Rana hexadactyla. About 360 million years ago, amphibians were the first vertebrates to live on land. Amphibians are diverse, widespread, and abundant group since the early diversification. There are about 4,500 species of amphibians. Frog is an amphibian and hence placed in the class Amphibia, the largest order with more than 3,900 species is Anura, which include the frogs and toads. Rana hexadactyla is placed in an order Anura. Frogs live in freshwater ponds, streams, and in moist places. They feed on small animals like insects, worms, small fishes, slugs, snails, etc. During its early development, a frog is fully aquatic and breathes like a fish with gills. It is a pykilothermic, that is, the body temperature varies with the varying environmental temperature. Classification: phylum Chordata, class Amphibia, order Anura, genus Rana, species Hexadactyla. It is a 2-mark question, please bracket it. Morphology of frog: the body of a frog is streamlined to help in swimming. It is dorso-ventrally flattened and is divisible into head and trunk. Body is covered by a smooth, slimy skin loosely attached to the body wall. The skin is dark green on the dorsal side and pale ventrally. So the head is almost triangular in shape. So that is, the head of the frog is triangular in shape and has an apex which forms the snout. The mouth is at the anterior end and can open widely. External nostrils are present on the dorsal surface of the snout, one on each side of the median line. Eyes are large and project above the general surface of the body. Children, these are very easy things to understand. So please don't expect me to explain it. Okay. They live behind the external nostril and are protected by a thin movable wait. Yes, they lie behind the external nostril and are protected by a thin movable lower eyelid and thick immovable upper eyelid. So about the nostril, about what it is. Eyes, the lower eyelids are thin and movable, and upper eyelid is thick and immovable. And a third transparent eyelid called nictitating membrane also present. This membrane protects the eye when the frog is under the water. So usually frog is an amphibian that it can be live in water as well as on the land. When the frog is in water, this nictitating membrane and third eyelid cover the eyes and protect it from the water. A pair of tympanic membrane forms the eardrum behind the eyes on either side. Frogs have no external ears, neck and tail are absent. So about its structure, frog have no external ears. It has no external ears like us. We have a pinna as its external ears. Like that, the external ears are not present in the frog. Neck and tail are absent in the frog. Trunk bears a pair of forelimbs and a pair of hind limbs. At the posterior end of the dorsal side between the hind limbs is the cloacal aperture is present. At the posterior end on the dorsal side between the hind limbs the cloacal aperture are present. This is the common opening for the digestive, excretory and reproductive system. Forelimbs. Forelimbs are short, stumpy and helps to bear weight of the body. They are also helpful for the landing of the frog after leaping, and each forelimb consists of an upper arm, forearm and hand. Hand bears 4 digits. Hind limbs are large, long and consist of thigh, shank and foot. Foot bears 5 long webbed toes and one small spot called the sixth toe. Okay. Write about the limbs of the frog. You will get as a 3-mark question. So, you have to write about the forelimbs and structure, function, and hind limb structure and function. Okay. These are adaptation for leaping and swimming. When the animal is at rest, the hind limbs are kept folded in the form of letter Z. Sexual dimorphism is exhibited clearly during the breeding season. The male frog has a pair of vocal sac and a copulatory or nuptial pad on the ventral side of the first digit of each forelimb. Okay. So, when the frog is at rest, it kept its hind limbs in the form of Z. And sexual dimorphism. What is mean by sexual dimorphism? That is the differentiation between the male and female frog. So, sexual dimorphism is exhibited clearly during the breeding season. The male frog has a pair of vocal sacs and a copulatory or nuptial pad on the ventral side of the first digit of each forelimb. Vocal sacs assist in amplifying the croaking sound of frog. Vocal sacs and the nuptial pad are absent in the female frog. This is the sexual dimorphism between the male and female frog we can observe. That is during sexual or during breeding season, the sexual dimorphism exhibited clearly in the male and female frog. Okay, what are the sexual dimorphism we can see? Male frog has a pair of vocal sacs and a copulatory or nuptial pad on the ventral side of the first digit of each forelimb. Okay, and same way vocal sacs assist in amplifying the croaking sound of frog. Vocal sacs and nuptial pads are absent in the female frog. That is the sexual dimorphism we could observe in the male and female frog. Next we are going to see about anatomy. In anatomy, first we will see about the digestive system. The alimentary canal consists of the buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, duodenum, ileum and rectum, which leads to the cloaca and opens outside by the cloacal aperture. Okay. So, the alimentary canal consists of the buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, duodenum, ileum, rectum, etc., which leads to the cloaca. Cloaca opens to the outside by a cloacal aperture. The wide mouth opens into the buccal cavity. On the floor of the buccal cavity lies a large muscular sticky tongue is present. The tongue is attached in front or and free behind. The free edge is forked. When the frog sights an insect, it flicks out its tongue and the insect gets glued to the sticky tongue. The tongue is immediately withdrawn and the mouth closes. So, this is the method by which the frog catches its food. The free edge of the tongue is forked. When the frog sights an insect, what it will do? It will keep its tongue outside. And the tip of the tongue consists of glue and the insect get attached with this glue to the sorry children, excuse me, gets glued to the sticky tongue. The tongue is immediately withdrawn and the mouth closes. A row of small and pointed maxillary teeth is found on the inner region of the upper jaw. Okay, it has a type of teeth called maxillary. It is small and pointed, which is found in the inner region of the upper jaw. In addition, wormerine teeth are also present as 2 groups, one on each side of the internal nostrils. It consists of wormerine teeth which are present in 2 groups, one on each side of the internal nostril. The lower jaw is devoid of teeth. The mouth opens into the buccal cavity that leads to the esophagus through the pharynx. Esophagus is a short tube that opens into the stomach and continues as the intestine, rectum and finally opens outside by the cloaca. Next, liver secrete. About this structure you could understand, I hope. Esophagus is a short tube that opens into the stomach and continue as the intestine. Stomach continued as intestine. Intestine open into the rectum and finally open outside by a cloaca. Okay. And liver, next these are the glands like us also. Liver secretes bile which is stored in the gallbladder. Pancreas, a digestive gland, produce pancreatic juice containing digestive enzyme. So there are two glands present in the frog. One is liver, another one is pancreas. Liver which secretes bile which is stored in the gallbladder. Pancreas, a digestive gland, produces pancreatic juice containing digestive enzymes. Food is captured by the bilobed tongue. Digestion of food takes place by the action of hydrochloric acid and gastric juices secreted from the wall of the stomach. Okay, food is captured by the bilobed tongue and digestion of food takes place by the action of hydrochloric acid and gastric juices secreted from the walls of the stomach. Partially digested food called chyme is passed from the stomach to the first part of the intestine. Actually, the food is partially digested in the stomach and this is called chyme, which is passed from the stomach to the first part of the intestine, the duodenum. The duodenum receives the bile from the gallbladder and pancreatic juice from the pancreas through a common bile duct. Okay, in the duodenum, the food is mixed with the juices of bile and pancreatic juice. This bile is secreted by the liver, stored in the gallbladder and sent it to the duodenum region, and same way pancreatic juice secreted by the pancreas and it also passed to the duodenum through the common opening by which bile also entered into the duodenum. What is the function of bile? Bile emulsifies fat and pancreatic juices digest carbohydrate, protein and lipid. Okay, bile emulsify. The function of the bile is emulsify the fat, and the function of the pancreatic juices is digest the carbohydrates, proteins and lipids. Final digestion takes place in the intestine. Digested food is absorbed by the numerous finger-like folds in the inner wall of the intestine called villi and microvilli. The undigested solid waste moves into the rectum and passes out through the cloaca. Okay, digested food is absorbed by the numerous finger-like folds in the inner wall of the intestine and it is called villi and microvilli. The undigested solid waste moves into the rectum and passes out through the cloaca, right? More or less the digestive system of frog is same like our digestive system only. Next, respiratory system. Frog respire on land and in water by two different methods. In water, skin acts as a aquatic respiratory organ, that is cutaneous respiration. Dissolved oxygen in the water gets exchanged through the skin by diffusion. On land, the buccal cavity, skin and lungs act as the respiratory organ. Okay, in the water, skin act as a respiratory organ, that is cutaneous respiration. Dissolved oxygen in the water get exchanged through the skin by diffusion. When the frog is on the land, buccal cavity, skin and lungs, all the three act as a respiratory organ. In buccal respiration on land, the mouth remains permanently closed while the nostril remain open. The floor of the buccal cavity is alternately raised and lowered, so air is drawn into and expelled out of the buccal cavity repeatedly through the open nostril. Respiration by lung is called pulmonary respiration. The lungs are a pair of elongated pink colored sac-like structure present in upper part of the trunk region. Air enters through the nostril into the buccal cavity and then to the lungs. During aestivation and hibernation, gaseous exchange takes place through the skin. Okay, so children, what they are trying to say, there are since frog lives in land as well as live on land as well as in the water, isn't it? When the frog is in water, it respires through the skin. That is, skin is richly supplied with blood capillaries. Then the blood capillaries consist of more oxygen, and this oxygen diffused out into the water from the capillaries of skin, and same way oxygen from the water enter into the capillaries of skin. Hence the exchange of gases takes place between the skin and external environment, and this is called cutaneous respiration. When the frog is in on land, it respires through buccal cavity. Sorry children. Sorry children. When the frog is on the land, it respires through buccal cavity, skin, and also lungs. The respiration through the buccal cavity is called buccal respiration, and through the lungs is called pulmonary respiration. Lungs are a pair of elongated pink colored sac like structure present in the upper part of the trunk region. Air enters through the nostril into the buccal cavity, then to the lungs. During aestivation hibernation, gaseous exchange takes place through the skin. What is aestivation? What is hibernation? It is nothing but during summer and winter the frog undergo a resting stage, and this is called aestivation, hibernation respectively. Then blood vascular system. Blood vascular system consists of a heart with 3 chambers, blood vessels and blood. Heart is covered by a double walled membrane actually called pericardium. Like our heart, frog heart also covered by double walled membrane called pericardium. There are 2 thin walled anterior chambers called auricles and a single thick walled posterior chamber called ventricle. Sinus venosus, which is a large thin walled triangular chamber which is present on the dorsal side of the heart. Next, truncus arteriosus is thick walled and cylindrical structure which is obliquely placed on the ventral surface. Okay. So, sinus venosus, which is a large thin walled triangular chamber present on the dorsal side. Same way, truncus arteriosus is a thick walled cylindrical structure present on the ventral surface of the heart. It arises from the ventricle and divided into right and left aortic trunk, which is further divided into 3 aortic arches, namely carotid, systemic and pulmocutaneous. So, it arises from the ventricles and divides into right and left aortic trunk, which is further divided into this aortic trunk, further divided into 3 aortic arches which are named as carotid, systemic and pulmocutaneous. Carotid, which supply blood to the anterior region of the body. Systemic of each side is joined posteriorly to form a dorsal aorta. They supply blood to the posterior part of the body. Pulmocutaneous trunk supply blood to the lungs and skin. Sinus venosus receive the deoxygenated blood from the body parts by 2 anterior precaval veins and 1 postcaval vein. It delivers the blood to the right auricle. At the same time, left auricle receive oxygenated blood through the pulmonary vein. So, renal portal and hepatic portal system are seen in frog. For this system, digestive system, respiratory system and circulatory system, please refer the diagram of the concerned system children. With the help of diagram, please understand the concept. Next, blood. In frog, the blood consists of 2 parts. One is plasma, another one is blood cells. Plasma is 60% and blood cells is 40%. Red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets are the blood cells present in the blood of frog. And RBCs are loaded with the red pigment, nucleated and oval in shape. Leukocytes are nucleated and circular in shape. Okay. Next, nervous system. About nervous system I will discuss with you in my next class children, and before that I want to discuss with you about the differentiation of frog and toads that I didn't discuss with you, that I will finish up. frog and toad. A family of frog and toads are Ranidae and Euphonidae respectively. Body shape slender in frog, more bulky in toad. Legs are longer in frog and shorter in toad. Webbed feet are present in frog, absent in toad. Skin smooth and moist skin in frog and dry skin covered with wart-like glands in toad. Teeth, maxillary marine teeth, teeth absent. Egg formation, lays eggs in the cluster, but here lays eggs in strings. So these are the difference between egg and toad. This you will get as a 3-mark question. Please store it, bracket it, children. And this is today's homework. And another one question for you. Digestive system. Explain the digestive system of frog. So difference between frog and toad, and explain the digestive system of frog. These are the 2 questions you will get as a homework. Complete and send it to me. Bye.